The imperialist writings. The main theme of the imperialist writings was the empire. In it, they portrayed or described themselves as heroes of the colonies. The imperialist writings were turned to cater to administrative needs of the British Empire. So, the imperialist writings were done to cater or to serve to the administrative needs of British Empire. Hence, the ancient Indian history written by the British administrative historian is called the imperialist writing. Dr. Vincent Arthur Smith, 1843 to 1980, is the foremost among them who joined British administrative service in 1869-80. He served British Company for 30 years in different parts of the subcontinent and retired in 1980. Dr. Smith was an imperialist who recommended an ideological background for British rule in India. So he is the person who recommended an ideological background for British rule in India. He tried to equate the contemporary or the present history of British India on British model. After his retirement, he worked as professor in history at Dublin University in Ireland. During this period, that means the period when he worked as a professor in history at Dublin University, so he worked or he published many authentic historical books including Early History of India, Ashoka, the Buddhist Emperor, Akbar, the Great Mughal, Oxford History of India, History of Fine Arts in India, and so on. Dr. Smith criticized the interpretation of Indian history by the Orientalists. So he criticized the expression or the explanation of Indian history by the Orientalists. His Early History of India and Oxford History of India in particular speaks in volumes about the invasion of Alexander into India. Dr. Smith was trained in traditions of Greek and Roman historiography, that is emphasizing the study of the history of empires and emperors. So Dr. Smith was trained in writing the history in the way of Greek and Roman. That's what known as Greek or Roman historiography, that emphasizing the study of history of empires and emperors. He followed the same model in the sense the way of writing history in the tradition of Greek and Roman. So, he followed the same model and conducted an extensive study of Ashoka, Samudragupta and Akbar and glorified them. He considered the rule of minor dynasty or the rule of small dynasties as the dark age which led to anarchy in India. Actually, anarchy is the state of city being freely constituted without authorities or governing bodies. Or it may also refer to a society or group of people that entirely rejects a set hierarchy. So in practical terms, anarchy can refer to the curtailment or abolition of traditional forms of government and institutions. So Dr. Vincent Smith considered the rule of minor dynasty as a dark age which led to anarchy in India. Next, Dr. Vincent Smith believed that Indians were not happy under the native leadership. So he found that Indians will be happy if foreigners comes to rule them. In his Akbar, a Great Mughal, he states Akbar was a good administrator, though he was a foreigner. His argument is, if Akbar, a foreigner, could give a good administration to India, why the same is not possible for British, and thus British rule in India not unnatural? While writing about Indian freedom struggle in Oxford History of India, he argues that India did not have a political unity, though regarded as a country of unity in diversity. He argues political unity and nationalism are the greatest gift of British Empire. He was against India's independence because for him Indians were unfit for freedom. He believed that if British left the country would become disintegrated and end up in anarchy as happened after the decline of Harshavardhana and Aurangzeb. So these are all about imperialist writing.